Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Oxshire, on the show this evening. It's Billy and my mate Jaffa. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Hi, Ox. How you doing, mate? Hi, Billy.
Hi, Jaffa. Hi, Ox. Hi, I'm fine, mate. Hi, everyone.
How are you, Jaffa?
Very well, Ox. Not bad. Considering, all things considering, which no doubt we'll discuss as the show develops tonight.
I'm sure we will.
Got my hard hat on.
What'd you say?
Got my hard hat on.
Oh, I thought you said something else, sir. How are you, Billy?
I am all right, mate. Still licking my wounds for Sunday, right enough, but I'm sure we'll discuss it as Jaffa says, pal.
I've no wounds to lick, mate. I think they're all self-inflicted, if I'm being honest, mate. You know?
Ah, well, that's true, mate.
You know, we've got a combination we're void of confidence, players no fit, things no gelling on and off the park between the manager and the players, if I'm being honest, Billy.
Aye, mate, I think there's a nucleus of things in there, mate, different things like that, different areas, as you correctly said there, mate, about things not going right. I mean, playing football, playing good football there, which I thought we did on Sunday, mate. We've played worse and got the points, if I'm brutally honest.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I'll be honest with you, I thought the first half an hour we were fine, we were okay, yeah, and then Jaffa, we just seemed to run out of ideas, you know. Obviously with enough opportunities, enough situations to win the game, but we never. And that's, if you don't score goals, you don't keep them out. It's no a good recipe.
No, I watched the game back on Sunday night, Ox. I watched the whole thing again, round about the 19-minute mark, which is what I kind of clocked when it happened. We just stopped playing. The energy levels dropped out of the game. We stopped middle of the park, stopped John Lundstrom. There was a right round about the 19 minutes and 2 seconds to be exact. John Lundstrom, Malik Tillman, Cholak, Kent and Sakala are actually all walking pace. The ball's in our half. There's 5 players walking, just not on their toes, no desire, no application. Just, and as you say, Ox ran out of ideas, and it just seemed to spread like wildfire through the team. And in some respects, I think we got what we deserved out of the game. I don't think we put enough, into the game to win it. We had chances, but we didn't. It was no clear cut. We weren't on top of them for a long period. We weren't ripping them apart. Just poor at the moment, Ox. Really poor football from us, and there's no other way to describe it.
Billy?
Well, Ox, you know me, mate. Listen, I always try and call it how I see it, mate. Sometimes I'll be right, sometimes I'll be wrong, but
I don't think I've noticed you being right, but carry on, Billy.
Cheers, mucker, cheers. No, listen, I'm like Jaffa. Aye, I like to look back. I like to look back again, mate, and watch the game again, and then I like to look into what we've done right and what we've done wrong, and what we were good at and what we could do better, and what we didn't do right. I mean, and I'm one for on the stats levels, mate. I check them, mate, because it's all about figures and numbers, as we all well know, eh? I mean,
only if you're 38 double D, mate. Jaffa?
Samantha Fox. Aye. Sorry, mate. I know. The bottom line here with the stats will say we get beat and we lost the points, and that's correct, mate. That's the bottom line here. But when you analyse the game and look at take all the positive things out of the game, mate, I mean, I could sit here and... Well, listen. Well, we had
about 80% possession.
Well,
corners.
We had. But I've wrote some things down here just to let the listeners hear, Ox, right? I'll rattle through them quick as I can, mate, right?
I'll give work tomorrow.
But with 73% of the possession, right? We had 492 passes, which works out to 86%. There were 315 passes in the opposition half, right? So that tells you, when you work that out, that we were playing the game in their half of the park. We had 20 corners. Yep. Which works out a corner 1 every 3 minutes with 29 shots.
Whoa. What school did you go to? If 90 divided by 20 is 1 every 3 minutes. Jaffa, well, please.
3.2 minutes or something it is.
There's 90 minutes divided by 20.
Right, I do apologise. I got my figures mixed up.
Jaffa, help me out here.
Got to be 4 something.
4.236 or something it is, right? But anyway, that's
all right, Billy. Right. You were doing all right up
doing all right there,
and you're blowing it.
The thing is, though, Billy, and I know. Listen, I heard Ali McCoist in commentary talking about the amount of corners. You know, it's been well documented. Mm-hmm. But my fundamental problem I've got with those stats is the setup. It's the way we're playing. It's the personnel that we're deploying. We're swinging balls, out-swinging corners, the majority of them. We don't. When was the last time we scored a goal from open play with a header?
I can't remember, mate.
We don't have that in our team. We don't have that tall centre forward. We don't even really have tall centre backs. Big Connor was partial to the odd goal here or there, but in essence, we don't have that in our armoury. So I still fail to understand, that this possession football, as I heard James when you're talking about today, that's instructions for the manager. That's our identity. He was asked a question today, Tavernier, about what is the identity of the team? How do they play? And he said, we play possession football. And he said, is that on instructions for the manager? And he said, yeah, if you look at all the best teams in the world, they play possession football. Now, fair enough, that's all well and good. But we're not actually doing anything with the possession. We're not cutting teams open. We're not playing. I mean, there was no triangles. The players are playing too far apart, fundamentally.
Yeah. Shapes on it. Right, let's go back to Billy. We'll get him. Listen, with this Secret Santa, I've just sorted him out. We're getting that. Carry on, Billy.
All right, mate. No, with 29 shots, 11 off target, 7 on target, with 11 block shots inside the box, 17, shots outside the box, 12, which went nowhere, and we had to Woodward 3 times, and we scored a goal. But listen, I agree with you there, Jaffa, with the system, 110%, pal, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's just my thinking on it, mate. Now, when I was at Ibrox watching the Aberdeen game, you could have got a fleet of buses down the middle of the park, right? And that's where the problem is. We all know that, right? But the system is, when I think anyway, see when you play the 4-2-3-1, right? It's got to, that system has got to be played as a unit, because if the team doesn't move up the park in that particular unit, as in a 4, a 2, and a 3, and a 1, you get holes between your centre forward and your front 3, or they'll double up on your 2 wide men, right? Which isolates your Kent, because he's got to come back the way. And then perfect example was on Sunday there, when Lundstrom lost the ball for the first goal. Sands was left exposed himself, and there was a big hole in the middle of the park, and that then became a 5 and a 4. So there's holes. It's a good system, but in my opinion, Jaffa, it's got too many negatives for it. For us to play that all the time in Scotland, especially in Scotland, we should be playing horses for courses type thing in different games, but in different Premier League games in Scotland. And to be perfectly honest with you, mate, I think if Gio doesn't switch it up more often, he could fall on his own sword for his own stubbornness.
I don't think we set up in a 4-2-3-1 on Sunday. I think it was the exact same as against Aberdeen, Jaffa. I think James Sands had mere defensive duty, And Lundstrom and Tillman were meant to get involved.
It was more like a 4-1-4-1.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you include the goalie in that's 11, Billy, just so if you're still doing the counting. Right.
Got my socks and shoes off here.
All right, mate, bother, mate. As long as I'll put them back on, please. Right. So, for defence, we're struggling a bit with central defenders. We've got a young boy in there who's learned his trade, and you can be critical if you want. I'm not being critical. Has he made errors? Yes, he has. But we've got a young boy in there, so the defence isn't working. Even our goalkeeper, who was magnificent, Anfield shows you what he can do. Well, he's looking a guy who's at the back end of his career. But defence isn't settled, particularly in the centre yet, so that gives you issues. Well, midfield isn't creating a lot of chances, and as Albert rightly points out, if you've got all these defensive mid-sitting, yeah, and you're no stopping other teams scoring, what's the point of defensive mids? But we're also no creating. We're wide men people's stats are poor, even though we've seen the stat last week that Ryan Kent was involved in some of the missed assists in the league. And then the way we play, if we don't get the ball in, Jaffa, to the centre forward, he becomes isolated with no chances, and he becomes ineffective because he needs the ball to score the goals.
Oh, there's you're right, Ox. I mean, there's problems. But partially, you have to quantify that and say we have been ravaged with injuries. I'm not going to deny that, and I wouldn't deny Gio that as a part of his defence. We have got incredible injuries, but we've got a big pool. And I'm not calling out Leon King. I think Leon King is going to be a wonderful footballer. I really do. I think he's got all the attributes. He's having a tough time right now, but he's making some errors. But there's plenty of players, seasoned pros, making errors in our team. I mean, that first goal on Sunday, James Tavernier, John Lundstrom to start with, not running back. Basic stuff, doing the dirty side of the game. And all good players do the dirty side of the game brilliantly. Because that's why you become a brilliant footballer. That's why you get to the top, and that's why other teams want to buy you because you do the dirty side of the game, which is the running, and that's a fact. And we saw that against Liverpool. We've saw it close up. You saw the whole Napoli team, man for man, every single one of them, just about their goalkeeper as well, doing the dirty side of the game. James Tavernier turns the ball back into the channel when he had 3 or 4 different options on him. He could have put it out the park. He could have played it back to the goalie. He could have played it out for a corner. He could have done anything with it. He even had time to take a touch and do something with it. But instead, he turned round and he played the ball back into the channel. They had 2 attackers at that point in our half, St Johnstone, and he played the ball back to Stevie May, who was then allowed to run with the ball into our defence. Yeah, there was a bit of a mix-up. There was a comedy. We tried to clear it. Leon King kind of mishit it. And then we got a third opportunity at that first goal. Well, Stevie May then took a shot and it ricocheted off, I think, Ben Davies, and the ball broke out to the boy Brown, who eventually scored the goal. Ryan Kent could have closed him down 3 times and ran back to the position he was in. He had that much time to do it, and he done none of that, Ox. He didn't attack him. He let the guy take a touch. He let the guy then fix his feet and position his feet to then line up the shot to put it in the top corner. There was 3 parts of that movement he was allowed to do before Ryan Kent, and he was still a yard from him, maybe a yard and a half when he lifted his leg. That isn't right. And that at Rangers Football Club, Ox, our standards are much higher than that.
So the decision making, right? If we accept, if you accept, and people have got different views on this, I think I've made many well known. Tav's no playing, and if you accept that Lundstrom's starting arguing with maybe Sakala when he should be back trying to help out, and if you accept it, I think it was Ben Davis with a loose pass, Jaffa. He tried to pass it to somebody. I think I've not watched it back as often as you boys, but there was a combination of a lot of things there wrong with the goal. The big error for me was James Tavernier. If he clears the ball and puts it up to the park, that first goal doesn't happen, and therefore the game's different. But it did.
It's just that lackadaisical. I don't know if it's I'm not sure if it is a lack of desire or lack of tactics. I'm not sure. I'm not in the changing room. I don't know what the vibe is in the changing room. They're all saying they're all playing for each other and they're all wanting to win and all the rest of it. I'm not. I've got to pin something a lot of that on Gio at the end of the game. He just goes over and shakes Callum Davidson's hand and walks up the tunnel. Why don't you go and speak to the fans? Go and clap them or apologise. Hold your hands up. Do something. The team's not playing well. I get that he's gutted. I get he's emotional like the rest of us. But he's still the manager of the team. And that walking up the park and hiding away from it is not the answer either, Ox. And a lot of the players done the same thing because they just followed the manager, because the manager went up the tunnel and the players went up the tunnel. They went nowhere near to the away fans, as Southside alluded to last night. There's too many things going on at this moment in time. Like you alluded to at the start, there's a lot of stuff happening, and it's all feeding into the one narrative.
Aye, the focus of every football club, Billy, rightly or wrongly, is always directed at the manager. And the manager, really, when the players cross a white line, he can't really do that much apart from substitutions, maybe try and change the shape. But ultimately, the manager's the guy who cops all the flack and all the responsibility. I don't know if it's always right that happens, Billy, but that's what happens in football.
Well, listen, he's a kingpin there that picks the team, puts the boys out the park, Ox. So any manager will tell you if he's waiting gold at all, or any shape, fashion or form, mate. The buck stokes with him, didn't it? But I agree 110% again with my mucker Jaffa there. Jogging back and no putting the work in games is just simply no good enough, mate. You've got to do the dirty side of the game. And at full time, I was one of the guys that wanted Giovanni Van Bronckhorst in. And I was really disappointed to see him going up the tunnel myself after he shook Callum Davidson's hand. And I was super annoyed at the players as well for not getting out to at least applaud the travelling Rangers support, because they guys go out there and that's the proper hardcore your Rangers support. And it wasn't good enough, Fox. It just wasn't good enough. And it's got to change. I don't know what the problem is within the ranks, mate. We can speculate all we want, but whatever it is, it needs to get addressed, and it needs to get addressed right away, mate, because if it doesn't, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, well, we'll got ourselves in this situation. We'll got ourselves in a bad situation where form's not good, and obviously our confidence isn't good. Look, we got a game tomorrow night, and it's fair to say it's a massive game, Jaffa, because it was a big game anyway. It's massive now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. He is literally. He's. I think he actually alluded to that today, Ox. He said as much. They need to win the two games. It's a must win. And if we don't do it, it's only the pressure's only going to intensify on them, and probably force situations to happen. There's an inevitability about all this, Ox. There really is. That's my feeling on it. I like Gio. I think he's a good guy. I think he's brilliant. I wanted him as well. I'm not going to change my. I thought he was a great coup to have. I thought he was a brilliant manager. He was in the market at the time. He's done a lot of good things, but there's probably a majority of things. The tactics I question, motivation of the team. Just the standards seem to have dropped. I still maintain, Ox, that a lot of the injuries we're picking up is down to fitness levels. I don't think the team looks fit, and that's why we're picking up as fans on guys like John Lundstrom not running back. John Lundstrom, that's not John Lundstrom. That isn't in his game. He wasn't doing that last year when he first joined us. John Lundstrom's got an engine in him, and that's a fact. He has. He's a player. I don't know. Some players have checked out. I guess that's a fact as well. I think we know who we're talking about, Kent Morelos, whether they're moving on or whether they're not moving on in January, which is only a few weeks away. I'm a great believer all that kind of stuff's going on in the agents are talking, all that kind of stuff's getting spoken about in the background, Docs. These things take time. Lawyers are involved. There's lots of complications to be things to be signed and deals to be done. And if they are moving on, that'll all be happening. The club are in a difficult position because if they don't play the guy, they can't sell him. Even if we only sell him in January for £1 million, if that's what happens, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility. It's better getting £1 million and getting nothing for him next summer.
Plus, you're getting him off your wage bill anyway, aren't you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And between him and Morelos and Kent, you could be talking probably the best gubbins in maybe 50 grand a week in wages. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you might be talking about $1.5 million just saving in wages. But anyway, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start turning our focus to tomorrow night. I think it's only right. But before that, we're going to hear a bit of the gaffer's interview. And we'll see where it takes us, and we'll discuss what he's got to say, see if we can pick up where the teams are, men injuries, and see if we can pick the bones in it. So get yourselves on mute, and as soon as we've heard the first part of his interview, we'll open up the phone lines if that's all right. We used to fine, upstanding gentlemen.
Pillars of the community, mate. Of course it is.
Let's get the bells on.
Right, let's hear for the gaffer, and then let's hear for you.
Yeah, you mentioned, good afternoon to you, Manny. You mentioned injuries. I wondered if you could get an update on, Fashion to Callum, first of all. Alex Lowry was missing at the weekend. Is he back? And a general update of who is available and who isn't tomorrow?
Alex is not in the squad. He's fit to play, but he's not in the squad. Fashion, we had a scan on him yesterday, so he had a minor muscle injury, so he will be out for I think a week, which will rule him out for the last two games. But he will be back after the World Cup for sure.
Good afternoon, Giovanni. At the weekend, you spoke about a lack of quality in the last third, and that was what really cost you. The team got into good positions, but unfortunately couldn't make that count. How do you go about changing that in such a short space of time between Sunday and Wednesday and the weekend?
Well, focusing on the area where we were the same on Sunday, close to the box, around the box. I think we will have those moments again tomorrow. And but we've done so many good times, the crosses, the runs, and Sunday we just lacked the timing of the runs, the right passes, so which was really difficult. But just keep focusing on the same, because we will again create a lot of chances tomorrow, but we have to make sure we convert those chances into goals. And the chances we created on Sunday, we only scored once out of it, so that's way too less.
Good afternoon, Giovanni. You mentioned that you can turn this around and you understand the reaction in its football. Can you tell us how you turn that around, get the fans' confidence back on? Do you need players? Do you need players to return from injury? Is it combined of things? Can you give us a kind of idea of how you feel about that?
The only thing that will help us always is wins. Wins is the most important thing, and how we win, at this moment, it's not important as long as we win, and that's always the best thing to have when you're in difficult moments like we are at the moment. So for me, it's all about the wins, because with wins also comes the confidence, and when you have more confidence, you will play better. The more players we get back, the stronger we are as a team. So it's all a domino effect, but the win is the most important.
Giovanni, you said obviously that you believe you can turn this around, that you can win the league. Do you look around the dressing room and see the same in the players' eyes? Do you think that they're on the same page with you and you've still got the belief they can do it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the players were all devastated after the game because of how the game went, about the chances we created, the manner, especially the manner we conceded the 2 goals, which I think could be avoided quite easily. So they have the same feeling as I did, and so now it's our job now to do better tomorrow in creating as much chances, but be more clinical and make sure we are defensively much stronger than we were on Sunday, because I think they created actually a couple of chances, but I think especially with the goals we should have avoided them.
You're missing 19 players, a lot of players to be out. Have the board spoke to you about your position, and has that been part of the discussion that they understand that is a factor behind the results?
Well, I speak with Ross every day. They haven't discussed my position at all. I mean, of course, we are all we know how the situation is, how we need to have wins, and that's all that matters at the moment. But I didn't get any timeline or you have to do this else. No, not. I didn't have any discussions about that with the board.
You mentioned how things are going, and you're aware of speculation surrounding the managerial position. I just wonder, is this the toughest you've faced in your managerial career in terms of the pressure, in terms of the experience at the moment?
Well, tough. I think my situation is nowhere tough if you compare it with the situation of other people right now in this moment in the world. It's not about tough. It's difficult. So I had more difficult moments when I was at Feyenoord. I had difficult moments when I was a player, but it's the same in life. You have positive, you have negatives. I mean, that's all of us. The only thing when you have a bad moment, you have to work hard. You have to work hard, because at those moments you will have to show your character and keep going, and that's what I'm doing right now.
You've seen after the match at Remembrance Park, some fans were unhappy as the players were leaving the stadium as well. I just wonder how that makes you feel as the manager, and what would be your message to them?
Well, it's for me, it's just it shows you in what kind of moment we are. It's difficult when you are doing all you can to bring success to a club and you don't bring it, or at least at the moment, and then success, I mean with wins. That's very disappointing, because you don't want to disappoint any people or anything what you love. I love Rangers, I love this club, I love everything this club embodied, but to be not able to get the wins, it's first of all quite disappointing for me, to disappoint my fans, to disappoint my players, everyone involved with Rangers. That's not a nice feeling to have. So I'm trying to reverse that feeling.
Giovanni, for the game tomorrow, is it a case of all or nothing, 3 points and that's it?
Well, for us, it's about all. We have to win this game. I think that's very important for all of us, and that's all we think of. And that's that's the only thing we can do at the moment.
Are you expecting a big challenge from Hearts in the game tomorrow, considering they've started to pick up form recently?
Yeah, well, they had an impressive win on the weekend, where they won with 10 men after a difficult result in Europe. Difficult trip. It's also they feel the games when you were in Europe, but they're performing really well. They're fourth now in the league, so we had always had difficult games against them, good results, but they always give you a very tough match, and that will be the same tomorrow.
Can I just ask you about Alex Lowry? Said he's not on the squad. Just get some thinking behind that.
I can only pick 20, It's very simple.
Yeah, maybe it surprises some fans that he also made an impact at the end of last season, coming back from injury. They were maybe expecting him to be.
I hope he will be back soon, because it's a long time ago last season. So he's been out for how many months? So for me, it's just a case to see the players I have, the players I will need. And that's all I think about. And, every player who's in the 20 squad at the moment deserves to be in that squad.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from
you. Fashion to after the World Cup, so that's another 5 weeks, and then he's going fit. So that's another player with the muscle injury. Who wants to go first? Billy.
Aye, mate. I thought when Fashion limped off at the weekend, I says, "Here we go again, man." Sorry, is that somebody coming in there?
I'll cut across here. I think we've enjoyed be Jim. All right, Jim, how you doing, mate?
Good evening, lads. Just do the fit of their rivals here for us fat people. Can I make a point there regarding his interview there again? I mean, to me, he's waffling again. First of all, I don't want to see him out of job. I don't want to see anybody losing their job. But for him to turn around and say about the chances we created at McDermott Park on Sunday there, I'd love to know what chances we actually created.
I'm in your camp, but I think Billy sees it slightly different. Billy, you doing, Jaffa?
Hi, evening, Jim. How you doing, pal?
Not bad, sir. Not bad.
Oh, no, listen, mate, as I said earlier on in the show, mate, I don't know if you caught it. Obviously, we're all disappointed with losing the 3 points, and that's the main thing that can happen, mate, right? That's it. We can dress it up any way we want. We can say we've done this, we've done that, but the bottom line is we get beat 2-1. But the chances we had on Sunday were incredible, mate. Incredible. I looked at the stats and the shots we had in goal, mate, and it was frightening. It was frightening. We had 29 shots in goal, and 11 off target, 7 on target, and we had a woodwork 3 times, and we had 11 block shots. That's what we had, mate. And see, to be honest with you as well, Jim, right, I thought we played well to start with on Sunday. And I said to my boy, I was sitting watching the game with my boy, and I says, I'm telling you something new, son. I says, watch this. I says, we'll hear all this possession and all the football, and they'll score. And I hardly get the words out of my mouth, mate, and they scored. But I can see where you're coming from, mate. I can see where you're coming from. But that's just what I read into the game, mate. Everybody's got their own opinion, and then everybody's got they're entitled to their own opinion on it, mate. And that's mine, obviously, and you've got your own.
Jaffa?
Jim, I'm probably agree more with yourself. Good evening, by the way. I just felt we weren't clinical enough. We didn't really create any. The first 10, 15 minutes, Lundstrom had a chance for the goal. He made a save down at his left-hand post. It was quite a limp shot. You know, he was laid in well by Cholak. Then we had the one where Tavernier whipped the ball into the box really quickly. Kind of had it away, curled it away to the back post. And I can't remember who was it, knocked it back over, and the goalie knocked it away out of Cholak's path. We did have a lot of shots in target, but there were more. We didn't cut them open. We weren't peppering their goal and last minute slide tackles and stuff. In all honesty, I think St Johnstone were relatively comfortable. We knew what we were going to get, Jim. That's the bit that I said at the start as well. 9 games out of the 12 games that we play in the SPFL is this low block. I mean, in the olden days, you would have had Walter Smith or Graham Souness talk about a defensive setup. It's a defensive setup, but you're going to play that, and we don't have the tools in our bag, our pool of players to. I would fight that fire with fire. I would just go and play them at their own game, and I would put a Mark Hateley type central centre forward up front, and I would just bombard the goal with high balls and pick up the second balls where the guys that can pick it up craft. That we're too predictable. Teams know what we're going to do. It's just so predictable, and it's the same every time. It goes from left to right. It goes to Kent. It comes back round. If it's no Sakala, it'll be Matondo or it'll be Scott Wright. And we've not got the players that are getting past them and opening them up. And I think the system, the formation's wrong. I think the shape's wrong.
Jim, I thought I'll be honest, we started okay. We were knocking the ball a wee bit all right. And as the start of the game, we were getting corner kicks, they were clearing their lines. Clear shots and effort. Goalie making great saves. I think he had one good save, and that was for Tav. For a cross, and Tav was up at the back post. Yeah, Lundstrom shot. If that had been in, it would been some goal. But we hit the woodwork. Apart from that, the ball wasn't being dramatically kicked to it. In fact, if you looked at the Aberdeen game last week, if we'd have won that 10-0, Aberdeen couldn't have complained. 10-1, sorry. Aberdeen couldn't have complained because we weren't making chances and they were clearing them off.
They were making chances. I don't think they were actually clear-cut chances that with football that we opened the up every weekend. That's how I'm saying. I'm a bit baffled where he's coming from with clear-cut chances. I don't think we at any time, maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe at most, opened them up and could have scored. I mean, again, it's... Do you know what I'm worried this now? I'm blaming him to an extent, but I'm also blaming these players. There's men in these guys. I mean, they proved it against Aberdeen when they get the ball moving quick. I think we're as good as that mob across the street. Again, and I think that's where part of the problem's coming from. We're watching that mob now, by the way, doing what they're doing, and we're not seeing that happening with your team. And I think that's where a lot of our frustration's coming from just now. I think a lot of our players need to take a wee look at themselves as well.
I don't deny that, mate. I think you're right. I think the whole setup has to have a look at themselves. I think Billy mentioned the outswinging corners, Jim. I don't know where you stand in that, mate. I know you're a connoisseur of the game. Fine wings, beautiful woman, yeah.
But, a beautiful woman, yeah, correct.
But constantly outswinging corners that are actually clearing their lines for them. Yeah, and I just don't get it, Jim.
To me, again, that's where he's got to come in and own this training ground. What are they doing? What are they actually doing?
Jaffa?
Jim, I've asked myself that same question. I mean, listen, if he, and he's got an array of coaches with coaching badges coming out their back pocket with the certificates that they've got. You know, the guys that he's got in there have played the game at the highest level. Jim, I don't know what that is they're doing. Because, again, about 8 or 9 weeks ago, just quickly, I don't know if you remember, I can't even remember who we were playing. We played a short corner. Ryan Jack played a short corner, came to the edge of the box, and we went and we thought, well, that's a variation. But we don't. There's no variation in our play, Jim. We don't change anything up. The opposition know what we're going to do every time we get the corners.
Oh, sorry. I'm not coming out of the there. See, regarding this, am I right and am I wrong saying, I've seen it posted on forums, see this boy, Stuart, the goalkeeping coach, is he our set-piece coach?
I'm picking up two different stories on it, mate. I'm picking up that he does some of the talking on the side of the park because he's got he's better than communicating to the players. I don't know. I've also heard that he's a set-piece coach. I've heard that, but I've heard different. I've heard that he's no. People have got it wrong. So the simple answer is, I don't know, Jim.
You don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, how bad is that our club? Again, I'm no slating the boy, but I'm seeing it on other forums and all the rest of it saying he is a set-piece coach, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he is, maybe he's no. But is that maybe the understanding that that's where things aren't working here?
Well, put it this way. Whoever's doing it, if you think back to the start of the season, when we were doing our defensive setup, they got that wrong. But the zonal marking, we could all see that was a shambles. And we've actually tightened up since domestically since we changed that. And then, Billy, I don't know what your thinks are. The outswinging corners with Tav, all right, I think my goal came for a corner. I think it broke out and then obviously Tav put it in. But it wasn't for a cross for a corner, Billy. And it was constantly away for the goal. I don't understand it, mate.
Ox, right, I'm going to mention two guys' names here, right? Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and Claudia Reda.
Two guys was the man.
Right. Now,
wish he was.
When you look back at the two guys, right, when they played with the Rangers, right, look at the delivery they used to fire into the box. Right, now that's I can't understand how the corners are coming in like that, right? They're bread and butter. They're bread and butter. They're big floaters. Any corner kick that you want to get played into the box to put your opponent, to put your centre half under the pressure, or you don't know if the keeper's got to come. You're not going to float one in and tap him. You're going to whip it in with pace. Right, the delivery is mince, absolute mince for corners. Right, and if it's not just getting floated in, it's hitting the first man. That's no good enough delivery. Now, as Jaffa said as well, we need to start mixing the corners up. We need to start mixing the game up as a whole, and that includes other areas of the park as well, especially when we're playing against teams with two low blocks, because there's no room in behind the two low blocks because they just sit in and they will not move, especially more so if they go a goal up against us, which has happened in games and we struggle. Then everything's all getting played in front of them and it's got to go back and wide and back and wide and back and wide, and it's slow and pedestrian. And the teams will just not come out. And Jaffa's bang on again. I would play a big number 9 up there or not and just fire big high balls up to him and go and win second balls. But that's for the corners, man. Now that needs to change as well. Definitely. Big time.
Stick to the script, Billy. Stick to the script.
Well, I know, mate. I was on a rant, mate.
I know, mate. I know. I just had to wake myself up there. Right. Jim, how do we fix it?
How do we fix it? God knows. You go to the games now and you don't know what you're getting after Rangers. I mean, the other week, I thought they were superb against Aberdeen. Then we parked that crap out at the weekend against St Johnstone. They disrespected St Johnstone. That shouldn't be happening. Andy Considine. Think about that name. A donkey who couldn't get a game for Aberdeen.
Aye. And he was like Baresi.
Oh, no, we make him look like Baresi.
Exactly, that's my point, mate. Exactly, Jaffa.
Well, I mean, Nicky Clark scored the second goal. I mean, I don't have a problem with Nicky Clark. He played for us. He pulled
Stevie May, another one.
And Stevie May. I mean, they're journeymen. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to St Johnstone players, but they are. Most of them are journeymen. We're supposed to be at the height of our profession. We've got players in there that cost millions of pounds on our assets, and they're turning in performances like that. And see, going back to the the whole corner thing. Last year, our corners. I'll tell you how our corners looked. Joe Aribo running to the front post and flitting in for the back post. How many goals did we score like that last year?
At least
a couple. Floating the ball to the back post. I remember Morelos getting one against Dortmund at the back post with Joe Aribo catching a front post flick on. We do nothing like that. I haven't even seen that corner this year. It baffles me. I mean, under 12s football, when you're standing in front of your football coaches, when you do your training on a Tuesday and Thursday night, Tuesday night would be your set piece night, Thursday night would be talking about the team and how they shape and how you were playing at the weekend. That was when you done your set piece stuff. But I'm baffled by it, Jim. Baffled.
See what you're saying there? Just exactly what you're saying. That's where it then all turns back onto your manager and not the players. That turns back onto your management team, because that's not getting implemented.
I'll ask you this then, Jim, right? See, if you were playing football at any level and the goalkeeper had to go and put a cap on because the sun was shining in his eyes and then you were going to take set pieces, would you swing it away from him or would you put it on? Did they put it in tackle? Did they matter what the manager said?
At any level, it's gone in tackle with two men standing on tackle. By the way, and see on another thing on that goalkeeper, by the way, am I right in saying was he maybe their second or third choice goalkeeper? Because I believe that the two main goalkeepers at the weekend were actually doing sick.
It wasn't their first choice.
I know he wasn't, because I believe the other two of them were actually sick. I get told that actually prior to it with somebody who was actually speaking to one of their coaching staff. Unbelievable. And you say, man, come on, the sun's beating down in his net, he's got to go and put a hat on. What are you doing with the ball? I mean, come on, schoolboy stuff or amateur stuff down the Glasgow Green or anywhere else in Scotland. They're putting the ball right in tap him. Let him think about it.
It doesn't even matter what your manager says to you. Anyway,
I know.
We've been joined by our Alex. We were short. How are we doing, Alex?
Right, guys, I'm going to pass on here. I'm going to let you guys on the rest of it. Thanks for having me on again, okay?
Cheers,
see you, Jim.
Right, thank you, guys. Good night, boys.
All the best, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Evening, Alex.
Good evening, Ox there, Jaffa and Billy.
Hi, Alex.
How are you all doing?
Hi, all right, pal.
Basically, I'm really concerned and worried about the way the club's going now. Every week, we seem to come on, and it's like an old record. We get through the exact same thing, same scenarios.
Tell me about it, mate.
And nothing is addressed properly. We don't even look fit. We're like walking. It's like over 50s walking, playing football. After 20 minutes, we look dead in our feet. We've no tactics. Whether the manager's implementing tactics, and these guys are going on the park and deciding what they want to do for themselves. I've said it before. The game's up to the World Cup. I come on and says, I couldn't see us winning every one of these games. Doesn't please me any. But this is just how it's been. There's guys there should be nowhere near Rangers Football Club, as far as I'm concerned. And it's all right coming on, we're going to go at the manager, everything about it. It's a mess from top to bottom. And it's really worrying times now. We're in football clubs out here. I've said before, you can't give the tickets away now. The fans are voting. And see tomorrow night, see this game, see the first pass that goes astray. These fans will bone that team again. Because everybody's in the brink now. I sit with fanatical Rangers supporters like yourselves. Everybody's got their opinion. But my God, get a bit of respect for that blue jersey. It's heartbreaking now. And every time I hear all this about the booing and the fans walking out, see the bottom line, see when you're in there, it's toxic. It's absolutely toxic. And this team are going nowhere till we get a reinvestment. Recruitment's at New Year. That's the only way we've got a chance, because the deadwood in there is way by it now.
Alec, I don't want to put you in the spot, but who would you say is the guys that have to go, mate?
The guys that's gone?
No, who would you say the guys that have to go? You're clearly you're the man in charge. Who's the guys that's got to go?
Well, I was surprised there when he says there 10. They're in the out of contract. So the 10 he's talking about is going to go. The guys have had Scott Arfield, Stevie Davis, Ryan Jack, all these guys have been absolutely brilliant servants to Rangers. Everybody knows they're by their best. You get through the back there. I've heard the rumour that Ridvan, I don't know if it's right, he's homesick now. Right? We get through Tillman. We've got him in loan. You've got Sands. You're talking 5 million. What, 5 and 6 million they're wanting for these guys? You've got wingers there, by the way. There are many of them. I think we need about 6, 7 quality players in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Morelos and Kent, as far as I'm concerned, I says a way back, they're finished with Rangers.
It's a sad end if that's the case. Right, so let's look at this logically. Right, I don't think there's any doubt. I would think that this time that Stephen Davis, Scotty Arfield, Alan McGregor will shake hands and they'll always be welcome and we'll adore them. Yeah, they'll be heroes.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Absolutely.
Ryan Jack, I mean, Andy Felice loves Ryan Jack, and I think we've always been a better team than him, innit, Jaffa?
But again, Ox, I agree with that. I mean, I love Ryan Jack as well. I think he brings a lot to the team, but probably this season and even part of last season, we've not seen the best version of Ryan Jack. Down to the injury. That's not the lad's fault. That's just his body. He's I heard you saying last night, Ox, I was quite surprised. Is he 34, is that right?
31.
31. So, which is still relatively young, but I think Ryan's had a lot of bad injuries and I think he's taken his toll. So, I'm not sure. I heard a few weeks back that they were apparently in negotiations with Ryan Jack about a new contract. I don't think that's beneficial. I would let Ryan go if he's at the end of his contract. We need legs in that midfield and we need players, guys that can play in the SPFL. Concentrate in the SPFL, and for me, everything else falls into place. Let's just concentrate and we're bread and butter. Europe comes after that. If we beat them and concentrate in the SPFL, that's got to be the remit, and we need players that can do that.
So that's 5. The 10, there's no doubt about which. It's sad, but it's the end of an era. Morelos and Kent, if they're not going to sign new contracts, they're not going to be ways anyway. Really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, we don't know. We speculated about the big laddie Golson as well, and look how that turned round at the last game of the season. The last game of the season, at the post-season.
I don't think that would be a popular card because of the way they're playing, mate. Yeah.
Aye. No, I get that, Ox. I get that, mate. So, I mean, we can look at Ryan Kent and Alfredo to be part of that too. Would obviously leave. My concern with Ryan Jack is as well, mate. The boy will know his own body himself, mate. And Ryan Jack's got to think about himself. Never mind his football career, because if he keeps getting these injuries, you know what I mean. You never know how it could affect him in later years in his life, mate. So he's got to think about that as well. Plus, Rangers have got to be professional enough to say, well, listen, as your medical team, what's the medical history here? Is this going to, due to what's happening with his fitness levels and he's being injury prone, is it worth our while financially to keep him and give him a new deal? Sadly as it is, I love Ryan Jack to bits, mate. I think he's a cracking football player, and I would love nothing more than see Ryan Jack fit and healthy and starting his stuff in the middle of that park for Rangers, but I don't think that's got to happen, mate. So every one of the 10 players that Alex, if he wishes, spoke about, mate, I 110%, mate, I would let them all go as well, definitely.
Yeah, so Ryan Jack, I mean, I suppose there's a possibility pays you play, but whether people would accept that, if that's a thing, I don't know, Alex. But then you're into Ridvan. We've heard the whispers ourselves. Obviously, he's got a bad hamstring now. It's not going to help the young boy. And you never know, mate. We might have to shake hands and move on, and then we'll get another issue, Alex.
It's just piling up on it. You wouldn't think how bad we've got Ox there. Seriously. We've declined that much. Beginning of the season, I said before, everybody was looking forward to it. We're in at the friendlies there and we thought, we've got a right team here. And it's went absolutely pear-shaped. It's a shame. Honestly, they're no really bad players, some of them. But they're no up to play the Rangers Football Club. They're no winners. That's the main thing about it. They don't know what it's like. These fans went up there, 30 quid a ticket, plus your travel. And that's what they produce on a Sunday afternoon. Shambles. Tomorrow night's the same. I tell you now, there's tickets going all over the place. The money's all been paid up front with the season tickets a lot, and folks running about fed up to go to the games now because of what they're putting in the park. There's some folk just getting to the Loudon now. That's how bad it has got. I know it's crazy, but that's what they're doing. And the guys that's got into the game, some of them are just absolutely ready to shout in the back of the team for they get into the come out. Because there's nobody in that team, apart from Cholax and Alan McGregor. That's what I would say to them earlier. Is really team Rangers or anything. John Lundstrom, I don't know how far he's went back. He's certainly not the same player. I believe if we get Lawrence back, that's maybe a plus. But dearie me, it's absolutely, it's shambolic now. And I hate saying that, because we all love the club to death, everyone is. But you've got to turn around and say, that team will no day. I would love, I know, it's probably never going to happen, that somebody could come in there and just invest in the club and just put the money into the playing side. Never bother with the board, with infrastructure after the party, museum, the Sky Lounge or anything. Just invest and get some quality players on the park that the supporters deserve. That's what I'm looking for. I just want my team on the park to compete every week. And if we win our games, we win. But you come off here and you say, you've left everything in the park. This is beyond a joke now.
Did you see it coming, mate?
Not at the very beginning. When I watched the performances in that, although we were getting victories, there've only been about 2 or 3 performances this year. We've got to tell the truth on it. The PSV, certainly. The Hearts game up there and you Aberdeen. The rest of the games. If you're only taking 1 point out of 6 against Livingston and St Johnstone, you're not going to win any leagues. Let's not be truthful about it. They're absolutely. And you're getting there tomorrow, and Hearts will really fancy their chances tomorrow night.
Aye, I get it, mate, because we're vulnerable, and then but another player done. What's your team tomorrow night? Have you thought about that, Gaffer?
I've got a team. Aye, there's not much left to pick a team for, is there, Alex? But I've got a team. Want me to throw it in?
Aye.
McGregor, Tav, King, Davies, Barisic, Stephen Davis, James Sands, Matondo, pushing Lundstrom up one, Kent and Cholak.
So after that performance on Sunday, we're getting Ryan Kent another start.
Who else is there, Ox?
I'm just asking the question, mate. That's how I get paid the big money, you don't.
Oh, I know you get paid the big money. I've seen your pay slip.
That was the mine. That was Billy's. Didn't
ask me for my team.
Right, okay. Right, I tell you what we're going to do, Alex, if you don't mind, get yourself a mute, because we're going to have a tune, and this is once again the Remembrance Week, a tribute to the boys who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Western Front at Christmas in 1914, thinking of my loved ones and the horror I have seen. There's no clatter of machine guns, no gas or bombs of fire, no dead or wounded soldiers sprawled across the wire. Then silent night comes drifting over shattered no man's land, and in my mind I think I hear the playing of a band. I think of wife and children and going home again, when we run out of bullets or run out of men. Come on, ye faithful, and goodwill to all. Your country needs you, answer the call. Don't ask any questions, don't ask why or when. We'll fight till we run out of bullets or men. We'll fight till we run out of bullets or men. And we played a game of football and even drank some beer. Then we exchanged our souvenirs in that season of the year. And in that dark, insane world, a moment of salvation. Brotherhood and friendship reigned, and reconciliation. But they said the entente cordiale could not be repeated, and fraternizing with the foe would end with us defeated. And even though the fallen numbers millions and 10, we'll fight till we run out of bullets or men. Come on, ye faithful, and goodwill to all. Your country needs you, answer the call. Don't ask any questions, don't ask why or when. We'll fight till we run out of bullets or men. We'll fight till we run out of bullets or men. Then we went back to dealing death with bullet, bomb and fire, and mixed our brothers in the earth with the mud and mire. Those who govern and decide say we will not yield, for surely God is on our side upon the battlefield. Those who profit, those who gain, say we must abide, and their words fall on the silent graves of all the men who died. And even though the fallen numbers millions and 10, we'll fight till we run faithful and goodwill to all. Your country needs you. Answer the call. Don't ask any questions. Don't ask why or when. We'll fight till we run out of bullets. Amen. We'll fight till we run out of bullets. Amen. Here we are. Here we are again. We'll fight till we run out of bullets. Amen. And even though the fallen numbers millions and 10, we'll fight till we run out of bullets. Amen. Yes, we'll fight till we run out of bullets. Amen.
Erskine has been caring for our nation's veterans since 1916, and with your help, we always will. This Remembrance Day, search Erskine to make a donation. Erskine, futures for the brave.
Oh, thanks for that. And remember, if you want to the Rangers supporters, Erskine appeal on the website. And you'll be able to buy Gordon Smith and the lads' CD, and then all the money will go to Erskine. We'll be back, lads.
Yes.
Yes, mate.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Lovely wee song, that, Ox. It puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Aye, a lot of things do, you know. You deal with stuff all the time in life, people that are throwing things, and all the boys that have sacrificed over the years, mate. You know, we were in a bit of game of football, but it's important to us, it's important to our well-being, it's important to our lives, which is mental, Alex, but it's true, isn't it?
It's true. Absolute respect for all service men and women, fight for the country. But it's emotional tie Rangers. And this is the thing where they've got us. When we don't perform, we get beat. It definitely, it takes it out of you. But we're watching performances like that. You just can't, you can't comprehend now. And you know yourself, man, we're paying out and we're paying out. Emails came out for the League Cup semi-final. I just paid it myself yesterday.
Paid, mate, today.
Paid it yesterday. That's due January the 15th. There's a backlog there that's come up and all for all the away games now after the World Cup. You know, all we're asking is for get a bit of team on there to give us a bit of respect to the supporters here. And that up there on Sunday. That's not what Rangers Football Club's about. And I told you before that the Union Bears, man, they kids are a credit to the club. Every one of them keep the atmosphere going at all the home games. If they're beginning to see wee things in it, that's when you know things are not right. And I just hope we can turn it round. But I honestly don't know what we're going to do. In fact, I watched the Rangers ladies quite a lot there, right? And see Malky Thompson and them. I think they want to go there and just watch how to play football with a system. Because the ladies are absolutely flying. And we've got guys there playing the Rangers and who says it before it. And it's not happening for them. They just cannot play with that club. That jersey is far too heavy for them. And that's the bottom line of it. And dearie me, we've got to get recruitment in there. And we've got to get guys that are quality. I know it's costing a lot of money. I don't know where it's coming from, but we can't keep going like there.
Right, here's a big question then. Here's a big question, and I'll go to your good self first, then Jaffa, then Billy. Keep it brief. Did you hear me, Billy?
Absolutely, mate.
Right. So, would you let Ross Wilson and the recruitment staff with a manager go out and spend a right few quid to try and replenish the squad, Alex?
No, I wouldn't. I've not got it in. Ross Wilson to me is no director of football, is no the answer.
Jaffa?
No. I asked myself that today.
Billy?
No for me, mate.
The question's answered. I think the question's answered, if that makes any sense. Look, I hope we go out there and win the game. Right. What's your team then, Billy, for tomorrow night?
Similar to Jaffa's, mate. Similar. But I'd play a 4-1-4-1. I'd go McGregor, Tav, King, Davids, Borna, Stevie Davis just sitting in there, and I'd take Arfield, Camera, Lundstrom, Kent and Kolach. I was actually slithering about the laddie Charlie McCann, but I opted for Scotty Arfield.
What was the front three, Billy? Sorry, I said you heard Kolach. Who's left and right?
No, a 4-1-4-1, mate. That's what it was.
Right. So who's sitting? Stevie Davis, did you say?
Yes.
Right, and who's the four? Who's the two wide?
Arfield and Kent.
Arfield and Kent. I wonder what you have to do to get dropped, Alex.
This is the problem you've got. There's no competition here. And that's why he's getting a free roll every week, Ryan Kent. And that's what we're doing to. We're doing the bare bones. The guy's not kicked the ball this season. And now, because we've no got the player pool, he's an automatic choice. And this is the thing about it. You're just hoping you get in there and he does one or two things and makes the breakthrough. You've got to remember we had 70-odd crosses against Livingston. And I think was at 20-odds there, getting against Weedy Cole at St John. They're 100. That's 100 balls going into the box and scored 2 goals. It beggars belief with me. And I'm like yourselves, man. We've followed the club for a long, long, long time. And we've seen a lot of bad teams in that. But I mean, we're better than that, surely.
The last time I seen such a poor scoring record of that was Jaffa in a nightclub in Spain. Jaffa.
It got better as the night went on, truth be told. Listen, I can't add anything more, Ox, to what Alex is alluding to. You know, I know he's a die-hard man, follows the club home and away as well. Listen, I still maintain, Alex, the players they're unfit. You can see it. They're not getting trained properly. And I think that's why we're picking up so many injuries. And I think that leads to some of the performances. And going back to your main point about the 10 players, we've got to learn for this. That guys like Kent and Morelos, this same movie gets played all the time when these guys enter their final year of their contract. If they're not prepared to sign a contract in the second last year, just sell them. Get them off the wage bill. Let them move on. For the sake of them and for the sake of us, because this isn't doing them any good.
Same question as last week. What happens if they don't want to move on, they don't want to sign, and they sit there?
Okay, Ox, I get that. I understand that players can do that, but most of them don't want to do that, and their agents wouldn't advise them to do that because that doesn't do their career path any good. There's always a buyer out there. I mean, everybody was talking a few weeks ago about Michael Beale being up in Ibrox. He was at a function, I believe, in Glasgow. Who's to say that Michael Beale's not interested in buying Ryan Kent for QPR? They can afford to pay him 30 or 40 grand a week. I would let him go in January. I hope that deal's already done. I dearly hope that deal's already done. And I hope Alfredo's deal's already done as well. Because when they get into that mode and their mindset gets into that mode, and whenever they're getting advice for the sidelines, it doesn't do the club any good. The club and the fans spot it a mile off. Ryan Kent's not the same player. And I was watching, just on the same note of Ryan Kent, I was watching some highlights of Ryan Kent against Porto the other night when he had that free roll under Gerrard. That was Ryan Kent at his best. That was in him in his best position when he had a free roll. Giovanni's not. That was the first thing they stopped when they came in last November. They stopped Ryan Kent playing that free roll, and they moved from a 4-3-3 to this 4-2-3-1 or whatever the system may well be. Ox. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things going wrong, and it is a combination of many things. It's not just one thing. It's all these wee things all build up, and then we get what we get out of it. That's where we are now. But it takes a while to get to that point, and I maintain that's where we are right now.
Anyway, we've been joined by Andy. Oh, I think no, maybe not. Maybe not quite with us. We'll be with us in a second. It's difficult. I mean, we're doing it in the bare bones. We're struggling to pick a team, really. I mean, the back four, we're putting the young boy King in again in an ideal world. If I'm being honest, Alex, we wish we'd be taking the young boy out just because you don't want him scared.
Absolutely. And I've volunteered for putting the young boys in, but this is not the time to put them in the new when you look back, because it's a tough struggle for the boys. And he has young Liam King there. He's played his best and he's made mistakes. He's a young kid there. He's getting nobody solid playing beside him.
Tesco mobile voicemail service. The person you're calling.
I don't know.
And you're hoping it doesn't scare him, as you say, because he's got a good career, that boy. And it'll probably benefit him longer down the line with experience and that. But young Charlie McCann, I'd love to see him coming into the team, but this is a difficult time now to be bringing the young boys in. And unfortunately, we're going to have to stick with these guys we've got and begin tomorrow night. It's just hope. That's all it is, really. They could get in there, turn hearts sour. You don't know what kind of Rangers team you're going to get now, but it's hard to think we're only a third into the season here, and look at the state we're in. It's sickening, to be quite truthful, and everybody's the same. We don't want to come on and start slating the players and the team, the full lot, but it's a hard task now, really hard.
Oh. I don't know who's joined us. Oh, I think Kenny's joined us. Got the show on,
Hi,
Kenny.
guys. Sorry, I hate sorry, you mate. All right, Alex.
Don't laugh if you got it on, Kenny.
Sorry?
Oh, carry on, mate. I thought we could hear the show.
Oh, guys, right. Billy. I want to talk to Billy. I was talking to you a few weeks ago, Billy, and you compared no sacking Gio to Walter Smith, who did sack him, who did done this and that. How do you feel now about Gio a few weeks on? Are you still pro Gio?
First and foremost, right, I don't want anybody to get the sack, right? But understand the supporters' frustrations, including myself. I'm frustrated too what's going on. However, I think that if we don't get maximum points in the next two games, then I think there'll be the inevitable will happen, mate, to be perfectly honest with you. I wanted to keep right on their coattails and keep as close and tight as we possibly could to them. Unfortunately, that gap has now widened from 4 points to 3, which is it's going to be hard to peg that back, even though there's going to be 3 Old Firm games. If he wins the next 2 games, mate, I would certainly let him get his players back and see how we go with transfers in January and see how we kick on after the new year, mate. But if he doesn't win these next 2 games, or if he drops any points, then I think the inevitable will happen, mate.
Billy, I hate to say it, mate, but you and the 1% of the Rangers support really are so out of touch with the actual Rangers support, mate. It's came and gone. The horse is short. The guy's got to go. He's never had any system or style, any play, nothing in that team. he's never developed enough in the team. I'm listening to Alex on here, and Alex has been polite about this. Incidentally, and Alex, the boys are reasonably enough. The guy has got to go. I don't think he's actually carried defend it. It's embarrassing and actually defending us. We go to game to game to game. I said it 2 months ago on here. He should have went after the Celtic game, incidentally. 4-0 at Parkhead, 3-0 February, on and on and on. 7-1 Liverpool. Crikey, on it. I mean, what is it? You know, it's ridiculous. We're still talking about this guy in this position. And that's all I'm going to say about this one. Ox, Alex, I totally agree with everything you say, mate. This club, Ox, sorry, is in dire straits. The damage that's been done to this club is going to take 2 years, incidentally, to repair the damage that has been done to this manager. It's a massive rebuild. He's destroyed everything in this team. Already, ethics, fighting spirit that Gerrard has brought into this team over the last 4 years, he's destroyed in one season. I said it, sleepwalking into disaster. We slipped into the abyss with this guy. It's going to take 2 years. Our board is inept, everything else. And you don't like to hear it. The board is totally inept. They class themselves as Rangers fans. 55, move on. They had them in the... I'm so upset, but I'm nearly green. I'm a mad Rangers fan. You've allowed this to happen. I told you it was going to happen here with this club. And none of you would listen to me. I asked you a few weeks ago, maybe £100 with 2 lines behind them. I'm sorry, I'm so upset.
Cheers, Kenny. Kenny, I'm going to let you go, mate. On nobody, no, I don't want to speak to you only because this is live and I don't want you saying anything you might regret, mate. Is that all right?
I don't regret anything, Oxon. I know what I'm saying.
Right, okay. But you're emotional, mate. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult when emotions run high, all right? The board, wait, the accounts are going to come out, Jaffa, and we're going to talk about it in one show at one time. They make decisions. You live by them. You fall by them. I think the football department have got a lot wrong. The board of directors, they've got a lot right and some PR wrong.
Listen, Ox, I've heard some guys coming on. We're all Rangers fans. One thing I don't want to do is start phoning away. I don't want any Rangers fans phoning at each other because I don't think that's conducive and I don't think that's going to help the situation. I get we've all got differences of opinions and that's respectful and it's good to respect each other's opinions. I'm not saying the board, every decision the board's made has been correct. I know a few people have said, I support the board, and I do in general support the board. I think the board have done a lot right. I think a lot of guys have put their own money in. I think they've dug deep. But they can't get every decision right. And of course they've made some decisions wrong. But I still fundamentally can't understand what it is the board have done wrong. They gave Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, they said 12 million. But incidentally, most of us wanted the high majority wanted Giovanni Van Bronckhorst as the manager. I did. I was one of them. I thought it was a great appointment. I really did. But Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has been given more money than any other Rangers manager probably in the last 15 to 18 years. He spent £12 million in the summer. Steven Gerrard never spent £12 million in one transfer window. So I don't know how you can say the board have done this and the board have done that. The board were asked to put up the money. We gave the sitting manager at that time, we signed 7 players, which incidentally, I have to go back and say, when we signed those 7 players prior to the PSV tie getting played and the Union tie getting played, I thought some of those players looked great signings on paper. I really did. I didn't know much about Matondo. I thought Ben Davies was a good signing. I thought Tom Lawrence was a great signing. I thought Big Cholak, when I saw him for Malmo, looked a great player. And I still maintain that those 3 players are decent footballers. But I still go back to my point, Ox. I don't know how we all arrive at it's the board's fault. I don't really know if you're a director of Rangers Football Club, but incidentally, and I know we've covered it here last night in various other shows, the guys that are on the board are all Rangers supporters. John Bennett, Dougie Park, who I know Dougie's not active, but his son is, and Stuart Robertson, they're all Rangers fans. And I'm not saying they're everybody's cup of tea, but you can't. label everything at the board of what happens on the football park. That's the football department. That lies at Giovanni's door, and it lies with the coaching staff. And it lies with the players, incidentally. And I think that's more where we should be targeting getting our anger out and probably looking for answers.
When things go wrong in a football club, ultimately the manager pays for his job, mate. Whether you like it or not, that's what usually happens. We've been joined by Bob Ger. Evening, Bob Ger.
Kenny, you were great to listen to, mate. You come up with a lot of valid points there. Because I'm starting to move, personally starting to move to the get ready Geo brigade, and there is a lot of us new that's gathered momentum, and I can't see how he can survive much longer. So I think we all know he's on a game-to-game basis. What I can't put a finger on basically is this, we're talking about all the points, is the overall lethargy that seems to be running through the club. I don't know what goes on in the boardroom, but I'm a football man, and what I see in a football park, it just isn't good enough, and it seems to be so laboured, so slow, so lethargic. Like, there's people there just no carrying the can, simple as that, onto a football park, and that's no good enough for a club the magnitude of Glasgow Rangers. We should be better than that. We haven't got a divine right to run onto a football park and win football matches. That's got to be earned. But I'm afraid the effort to earn that isn't, it's no there. What the hell has happened this season? I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, and I would say that the vast majority is canny. And I hope it gets sorted out, fixed soon. But remember one thing, and you know, he didn't need me to tell you, managers cost a lot of money. New managers cost a lot of money. However, the day, didn't go near this guy Martindale. There you go.
No, I don't think that'll happen, man. As much as I respect what David Martindale's done, it's a great story, and I wish him all the success in the world. Because even guys like Jaffer and Billy deserve a second chance, and I'm trying to rehabilitate the two of them, But I think you get to a situation here, and we're having people having conversations, and I'm not saying what I think is right or wrong. If you get a situation where you can't afford to get rid of somebody, you maybe can't afford to keep them because of the other damage it's done in the income side rather than the outgoing side. That's the problem when you get to this situation we've got. You've got a big retail period coming up, and the negativity, whatever it would cost to get rid of them, you might not take that revenue in.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, new incomers cost a lot of money. They're going to want it. They'll no fancy half the staff he's got there, half the players he's got there, I can assure you. Because I certainly didn't fancy some of them. But no, I don't know. Rangers are at a crossroads here, let's be honest. And it's got to be sorted one way or another. So, I don't know. I really don't care. It's a bugbear for us all. It must get better because we're staring down the barrel of watching Aaron Mooy and Ralston running round about again, and I didn't want to see that. I wouldn't have any of us want to see that again. But I'm afraid we're staring down the barrel at it again, Bears. And that's got to be sorted. Big time.
All right, and then carry on, Bob.
The economics here, again, as I just said twice, new managers cost money. And if we got the money to finance a new manager, no, I don't think so. I think you're all going to surprise with the economics and this oncoming AGM. And it's not like me to speak about money, as you can, but I think you're all going to surprise with the economics of the club coming this AGM. That seems to be what's holding back.
I don't think we'll have done very well when you look at the turnover, mate.
Oh, aye. We have done very well.
But we've not got as much money to spend. Turnover,
as everybody thinks.
Turnover and profit are two different things, Jaffa.
They are. The wage bill have went up considerably. The players get the majority of the money that comes into the club. That's just a fact. That's the same at every football club. But yeah, the accounts are out on Monday, so I dare say next week we can all debate it and dissect it and cut the bones of it, and we'll be able to get a better picture of where we are. and then the AGM will be shortly, and the board will need to answer the fans, because that's what the AGM's designed to do. It gives the fans the opportunity to get their questions to the board and hold them to account. That's the whole idea of it.
Anyway, talking about the Ports, let's hear Ports report.
Hello and welcome to Porter's Report. Today we're going to look at Rangers and Hearts, team news, predictions and lineups. Rangers will attempt to get back to winning ways in Scottish Premiership when they take on Hearts at home on Wednesday. The hosts arrive at the back of a shock defeat to St Johnstone, where the visitors travel to Glasgow following 2 consecutive victories. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has come under some scrutiny from supporters due to their poor form, both in the Scottish Premiership and the Champions League, but the pressure on the Dutchman was ramped up considerably in the league outing away to St Johnstone, where the goals from James Brown and Nicky Clark condemned Rangers to a shock 2-1 defeat, despite a late reply from James Tavernier. Rangers can take solace in the fact the record on home soil is the best in the league, currently having accumulated 6 wins and 1 draw from their 7 fixtures at Ibrox. They will need to improve against Hearts on Wednesday to ensure they keep tabs on Celtic, as any further drop points could potentially be dangerous to their title bid. Hearts travel to Ibrox with renewed confidence under Robbie Neilson and have moved up to 4th in the Scottish Premier, owing that to 2 consecutive league victories. The Jambos look to have shaken off their melee of late and have been able to start welcoming back some key players from injury, which has added to their cause considerably. Last weekend, Hearts managed to claim a 3-2 victory over Motherwell at Tynecastle, despite having 10 men, thanks to a double from Andy Halliday and Lawrence Shankland. There is scope for optimism among Hearts fans once again, while they have also added a caveat of the European Conference League group stage coming to an end, which will reduce fixture congestion and allow players longer to recover between matches. Neilson will fancy his chances of springing a shock this midweek against an opponent that is relatively low in confidence at the moment. Hearts will have to be content without George Grant, as the midfielder picked up a straight red card at the victory over Motherwell. Benny Bingamy and Liam Boyce are still suffering with cruciate injuries and will not be present at Ibrox. Stephen Kingsley, Craig Halkett, Kieran Mackay-Steven and Peter Herring are all out and will be absent from the Hearts squad. Possible lineups for Rangers: McGregor, Tavernier, King, Davis, Barisic, Sands, Lundstrom, Sakala, Tillman, Kent, Cholak. Hearts possible starting lineup: Gordon, Smith, Sivok, Rolls, Cochrane, Snodgrass, Halliday, Giannelli, Forrest, Mackay and Shankland. And that's the end of Port's report.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, okay. I didn't know Gordon Smith was all right. Interesting stuff for report, and he's right. We are under right. We are a team low in confidence. Alex, for Wishful.
First class report. Spot on the report there. Everything he said there. And we're under pressure. It's just every game. It's a game to game though, to see if we can just get a couple of points here. But honestly, I can't see it. It breaks my heart to say it. I cannot see it. And we've just answered the questions ourselves there. If Gio's had more money than any other manager, and this is the team we're putting it, I've went for Gio getting gone, to back to Ross Wilson, to back to Gio. See the bottom line? If Gio goes, Ross Wilson goes, and we need to gut this out completely and give us a team that we're, what do you call it,
Well, I'll ask you this question then. Would you want Ross Wilson involved in selecting a new manager?
Nah. No way. No way. I think he's done his bit. And this is what other than now. Kenny put a good thing on there. We were there 55. We won it with Stevie Gerrard. Went to a Europa Cup final, a Scottish Cup final. We should have been away in front. We're away back now because the signings were made. And be quite truthful, there's some of them I didn't even know anything about. I knew about Lawrence, must admit. Hey, Matondo, never heard of him. Never heard of him. He comes up, was it £3 million we pay for him? You can see what he's all about. And you get through them. Sands, the boy, it wasn't his fault when he came in at the beginning. They put him at centre half against Aberdeen on winter night. He was a fish out of the ball. Then we brought him into midfield there. He's at least got a bit of pace. But whether you're going to float the money out to buy him, is it 4 million, 5 million you're asking? Tillman. I sat there at the Hearts game. I've already said this. And the guy next to me, he was a stranger. And when the goal got in, the guy got up and the guy was for Hungary, in all places. And we're sitting there. He could talk right good English. And I says to him, I says, what's the love for Glasgow Rangers? He loves Rangers. Ferris Vegas supporter. And also Bayern Munich. And the guy sat and introduced him, all the guys went about and were giving him the poppy badges and what you've got with and that. The guy loved it. He was on about Tillman to me. He says, they're playing him in the wrong position. And I went, how's that? He says, he plays right off the centre forward. His game's no running up and down. And I thought, well, he does a couple of times here. He's done it against Mull and he's built the lines. But this is what this guy's telling me. His game is right just off the striker to play the 1-2s. And I thought, you know something, that's quite sensible, that. And we all came out the game. And that was the boy. And he says to me, what's the value? I was about £5 million. I says, what he's talking about. He says he's got potential. That's what he said. Now, we're no a club now that's got to go in projects now. We've got to get guys on that part to try and win this league. Because if they win the league again, they're getting nearer and nearer and nearer. And this is the hardest thing about us all. We're all brought up with success, the full lot of us. These young guys have not seen it. All beat a Scottish Cup and they go to a final and they win the league. That's all they've seen, the young kids. We've got to start thinking about them and on and give a team that the fans absolutely deserve. I don't know where the money's coming from. I'm sitting here in Fantasy Island myself, making things up as I go around about. But I hope somebody comes in there and invests in the club, just the playing side, and gives quality players. That's where I'm on with it. Mm-hmm. I get quite emotional myself with it, and I know how Kenny feels, by the way. It's breaking us all. And we're going to get in there tomorrow night. And I hope there's a performance there for us. Because see if it goes pear-shaped tomorrow, sir, I'm telling you, man, you'll really hear the house coming down.
I think obviously we've blown it a bit just, but I can't comprehend it. I hope we can get a result for the fans, for the team, but more so obviously we all want Rangers to win Jaffa, yeah, all the time, you know. I understand people's frustrations. I've not got the answers, if I'm being honest, mate. I don't know. They've got a choice to make. It's stick or twist. And at the moment, I've decided to stick Jaffa. And sometimes that can work in football. You know, it can turn and it goes for you. But usually in this situation, there's only one outcome, mate.
Well, it does have a Rika inevitability about it, Ox. I said that earlier on. Listen, I wanted the project to work. We've dissected it and cut the bones of it for months now, Ox. You know, the things that's going wrong with the team. I don't think there's any more that any of us can say or do. We just need to win football matches, and he's not doing that. And it's a football business. It's a football-driven business, results business. He said that himself today. He knows where he is. You know, we need to get back to basics. And I agree with Alex. You know, we need some investment in the team. We need to spend some money wisely, no projects, wisely. And I go back what I said earlier on. I just want to focus on winning the SPFL. Just focus on winning the league. Everything else falls into place. If we win the league, Europe comes next. Whatever competition it is. But focus on winning the league. Guys like Lewis Ferguson, we all know what he's doing in Bologna. Could have done a job for us. I know we spoke about him on here on the show back and forward. There's other players in Scotland that don't cost a lot of money that we know could do a job for us. We've got to go, and I heard
we've got to sign players out with Hamilton, mate. Come on.
I heard Southside last night talking about some local, getting some Scottish blood in, guys that know what to play, know what it is to play for Glasgow Rangers.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the guys, I would take his contracts up in Norwich and I would go and get him.
I would go and get him as well, because I think he could do a job for us. You know, he's fit, his body's fit. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he's box to box, and he's got Rangers to burn in his heart. I would have Kenny McLean in a minute, and his contract is up, and I'm sure there could be a deal that could be done there. I would have Kenny McLean in a Rangers jersey. I'm sure it could be a short deal. It doesn't need to be huge sums of money that's spent on it. I suspect that's a deal that could be done, and if that's a deal that we're not looking at doing, then I don't think if Ross Wilson's the guy that's doing that, he's not doing his job properly again. That should definitely be something he should be looking into. And there's other deals out there to be had. There's players that would walk to get to Rangers, and players that would want to play for us for not a great deal of money. We touched on earlier on there. If Ryan Kent and Morelos have checked out, I'd let them go. Even if we get £500,000 for each of them and £1 million for each of them, I'd let them go in the January window. But Morelos, I suspect, will go to the continent, whoever he ends up at, a Portuguese team or a Spanish team. And Ryan Kent, I suspect, is angling to get back down to England somewhere. He'll not be going to an English Premier League team.
I'll tell you what, the two of them will rue the day.
It'll never get any better than this. That's what they'll understand one day. They're only young lads. We all know that. We all know the answer to that. We've all seen it with loads of players. We've heard the Brian Laudrups and the Paul Gascoigne say it. It doesn't get any better than this when you've got 50,000 adoring fans that cheer you on every week. But these guys, they're millionaires over and over, and they're selfish. I'm sorry to say it, Ox, but they are. They're selfish to the core, these guys, and their agents that are advising them are. And in most cases, and they'll move on, but they will rue it. You're right. They will rue it to the day they die.
Okay, can I just change the subject? Their skipper, who's known to a lot of people involved with Rangers Radio, is heavily involved in raising funds for a young 7-year-old girl. Her name's Olivia. She's confined to a wheelchair due to drop-down seizures. And there's a fundraiser for the young girl this Saturday coming. And Skipper is selling tickets. They're priced a £5 for raffle tickets. Now, what he's got a Rangers strip. It's been signed by, let me just make sure I get this right. It's been signed by, Willie Henderson, Colin Steen, Willie Johnson, Alan McDonald, Mark Haley, Alan McLaren, John Gregg, Derek Johnson, Marvin Andrews, Gordon Jury, John Brown, and the late Davy Wilson. Yeah, it's been a labour of love for Skipper as he met, but he's willing to put that up to raise funds for this worthy cause. So if you want to contact, it can be done at Nicola Scott, and that's 2 T's, at yahoo.co.uk. Yeah, a worthy cause, and well done to your skipper. The Rangers family never stop, Billy.
That's absolutely brilliant, mate. My heart goes out to the wee lassie for unfortunate circumstances, but what a lovely, lovely touch that is, mate. And I'm sure the Rangers support there will try their best, and I'd ask them to give what they can for a wonderful cause for that wee lassie. Well done, Skipper. Well done, pal.
Yeah, Skipper. What a man he is. What a man. You ever get the pleasure to meet Skipper, you'll never forget it. But count your change. Anyway, we've been joined by AK. How are we doing, AK?
Good evening, Oxchair. Good evening, boys.
Hi, Alec.
Hi there.
Hi, Alec.
Hiya. I just want to feel for Kenny there and his call earlier on. Keep the chin up, pal. We're all hurting. But good emotional call, and probably a right decision by yourself, Oxchair, too. But
I don't make bad decisions, Alec. You know that.
I know, and good points made by Alex Fabisham, but there have been plenty of points, great points made the last couple of weeks. We're all hurting, but unfortunately, I need to take up on what Jaffa said about backing the board. For me, that's where I know they do a lot of good work financially for the club, and they've got to look after the finances for the club. But see, for me, where it all started with their decision was to remove Mark Allen for his position with the relationship he had with Steven Gerrard and Stuart Robertson, to go to Southampton and appoint Ross Wilson. That's where all our trouble started. At that time, I said a few weeks ago, Ross Wilson had actually acquired £60 million worth of players for Southampton who they'd put on loan, who they didn't consider good enough to improve their first team. So why is our director, Stuart Robertson, going to that man in the first place to head him up for us and trust him with our finances, remove a guy who had a great relationship with Gerrard, get in most of the players still there, didn't it?
Did he have a relationship with Gerrard?
Well, he couldn't have that bad because he get plenty of good buys out of him. And for me, that's where the entrust stopped. Well, you look at the team now. It's Mark Allen signings. It's whether we get filled with Ross Wilson signings. That's where we started deteriorating.
What Mark Allen signings was success then?
But what's the spine of your team now, Oxford?
What game? I'm asking you a question. I did the questions on here. what Mark Allen signings were a success?
Pretty much all of them.
Remember who he signed and who he didn't sign. Some of the players that were brought in.
2019 was filled with Mark Allen signings.
Who? When did Mark Allen join the club?
2018 was it? I'm not sure that.
I don't know. You obviously you've done your homework, so I'm asking you questions. When did he join the club, and who did he sign, and did he have a good relationship with Gerrard, or did that relationship break down and that's why he left?
Oh, really? Right. I don't know. Well, you're surmising there as well, Oxford, but
I'm not surmising, mate. I'm not surmising.
Well, we're still relying on the guys that he brought in 4 years ago, and that's the mainstay of the team. We've got 7 new signings in it, and Omar Kovac is your kind of guy you could say hit the ground running. Ross Wilson has ripped heart out of the club, and the problem, and Gerrard and Michael Beale told you at the time, there's not a lot that we can see there now, but there's stuff going on behind the scenes there that we can't see. Well, it caused Gerrard to leave, and it's now causing Gio his job as well. Ross Wilson is atrocious as a director of football. He's there when the press cameras are going, when Aaron Ramsey's getting signed and Diallo and that, and then he's in the dressing room when we beat PSV and we're qualifying for the Champions League. Where is he now when Gio needs him? They've been lying for the start of the season about Tavernier's injury. No, he's no injured. No, I'm happy with my squad. No, I don't like my squad. We need more reinforcements. You're not getting them. It's a shambles. Alex Fabishaw's right. It's a shambles. They agreed the Australian tour, and they didn't have a flag day. That was embarrassing, that flag day. They've not even celebrated the 150th anniversary. Probably that was the Union Bears. It's one disaster after another, and it's Ross Wilson he's got to get sacked. I don't know how he can survive. Nottingham Forest spent £120 million to try and survive in the Premier League. They realised they'd made an absolute pig's area, but they gave their manager a 5-year contract, and then they sacked their director of football recruitment. So these guys have got to pipe their job. It's gross negligence what they've done to our club and the contracts that they've put them on. I mean, who gave Connor Goldson a 4-year deal after nobody wanted him? Who gave Tavernier, when he's in his 30s, a 4-year deal? When he's getting...
They never give him a 2-year extension.
Well, there's a lot of stuff there, and what's a squad wage bill now? I heard Jaffa on about that. What's that up to now?
I would guess that it'll be in the 50s. Jaffa?
I would think it probably is around about that. I like if the turnovers went up to about 80 million, which I suspect that's probably what the accounts are going to show. That's just my guesstimate. I can't say that for fact. The accounts are out on Monday.
That's a noose round the club's neck financially, surely, as well, because all we're playing for is £3 million if you win the Scottish League. Europe had to be a success then, didn't it? That's totally what they're relying on, that European money, and that's where their focus is. That's
the players' wages will all be, the contracts will all be pro rata though, Alex.
Pro rata when you go. You don't think they were singing Sweet Caroline in that dressing room, mate, because we were going into the Champions League? Do you maybe think it's something to do with the money they're getting in their bank account?
Aye, quite probable, but it's no the amount that
and the coaching staff
they kind of banked on. I just don't think it's feasible financially, and that's a big part of why the board isn't doing a great job, Jaffa. When you've got that noose round the club's neck financially,
what's the board's job?
The board's job is basically to generate money to allow funds to give your manager, surely, for a good team on the park. And they're failing in that side of their job as well, because we've regressed. In the last 2 years, we've went from winning the league with 25 points. We threw away a 7-point lead to then lose it with 4 points at the end of the season. And we're now find ourselves 7 points behind, 10 points dropped for the start of the season. We've dropped 24 points in the last calendar year. That's not good enough.
The board don't pick the team, Alex.
Trophies out of 18. Come on.
Don't pick the team.
The board don't pick a team, but the guy's getting handed with Crocs.
So how would you solve it then? You get rid of the board, and then I would think, and I don't claim to be a business expert, then if they're not backing that up, we become insolvent then potentially, because we've not got that money at the back. How do we solve that? Unless somebody comes in with money, mate.
Dave King got it right. He had a mess.
How many trophies did we win under Dave King?
I know we did. We only won one, and that's not good enough. But he had a total
what trophy did we win under Dave King, Alex?
We won one trophy, the league title.
Who was Dave King? Douglas Park was the chairman then.
Was he?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, he overseen the 3 year then, the restructure of the club, because he had to go back to South Africa because of the COVID situation.
Dave King's not based here.
I know it isn't. I know it isn't.
So we get rid of the board tomorrow, yeah? I believe that somebody phoned me today and said somebody said sack the board, they'll get rid of them tomorrow on Facebook. So how do you replace all that money in the club tomorrow? How do you do it? Where do we get the £30 million fee in a day? Where do we get it for?
But the guy's got to be out there, surely. Who then? Dave obviously knows him. You've got Stuart Gibson there as a billionaire. He was meant to have an East End consortium coming in there. That's never materialised. Why? When we're signing up for Australian Ange Fest and all that, that's not a good look in the board either, surely. It's not what the supporters want. The supporters want trophies.
Aye.
And they're in basketball club, innit?
Except that was a mistake, yeah. Except that was a mistake. I think you've got to be careful what you wish for. Jaffa?
Alec, I know what you're trying to say. I'm just trying to see how I'm saying. It's my opinion. It's how I see it. I think the current board, who are all Rangers supporters, brought up a Rangers supporter, Dougie Park. Alec, and I know you live in Hamilton, so you know Dougie Park, and you know what he's built, and you know that his dad started a company and built an empire, and Dougie Park's now passing that on to his children. Dougie Park himself has turned his business into a multi-million-pound empire. Our club is secured on the back of that, Alec, that wealth. And that, for me, is the best security we've got. Every business the size of your club needs security. It's like you, with your overdraft at the bank, You need security, or your mortgage, it's secured against something. Our finances, our business, everything we do, the credit lines that we get, when we go to restructure and build Edmondson House, the money that it takes, infrastructural costs. And I know I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this, want to talk about the team on the park. I do too, but the two of them are intrinsically linked. You can't unlink them. Dougie Park, and nobody else has came forward, Alec. No other person has came forward and stuck £20 million in their own money into it. Guys, those kind of guys are not in Scottish football. We don't get American sports consortiums like Fenway Sports that own Liverpool coming into Scottish football because there's no money in it. Dougie Park has done more for our club, I would suggest, than anybody else, and probably since, and I wouldn't even say since David Murray, because we all know what happened there. He's honest.
Dave King's done a bit as well, mate. Twice he's put a lot of cash in as well, for being fair, Jeff.
He has, yeah. To be fair, Dave King has, but he's not got a business based in the UK. Ox, he's not got any securities in the UK, so he's got nothing to secure the club against, and that's fundamentally why Dave. And as far as I understand, Dave King wants his money and wants out of the club, which is why he's ultimately trying to sell his shares to Club 1872. So I don't think Dave King is the knight in shining armour, so to speak. And I'm not saying the board get everything right, Alec. I'm not saying that for a minute. The board get a lot of things wrong. All boards do in any organisation. But I still go back to my point, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst got £12 million to spend in the summer there, more than any other manager we've had in the last 17 years. I don't see what any more the board can do in that instance. You answered your own question. You said the board's job is to provide funds and provide infrastructural money towards the team. They're building new Edmondson House. The roofs have been fixed, which incidentally has rolled into millions upon millions of pounds to keep the upkeep of the stadium, to look after the well-being of our club. And that's massive, Alex. And I don't think that goes underestimated. I think there's a lot of good things getting done at the club. It's not perfect. I'm not saying that for a minute. And I get that we're all hurting. I'm hurting too. I'm a blue nose just like you guys. We all are together. We're all Rangers fans. I just don't see how the board are at fault. I don't understand it. Ross Wilson, I'm not saying you've not got a point there. Everything that Ross Wilson's done is a lot of stuff's not been great.
I never thought I'd say this. You might be right with Ross Wilson. Sorry, Alex. I never thought I'd say that.
He did sign Calvin Bassey.
One good signing then out of about 30. No, but listen, I accept. No, that was Mark Allen, Joe Aribo.
It was.
But I accept what you're saying financially, as I said, but their one major flaw was going to get Ross Wilson and entrusting him with the purse strings. A director of football for me doesn't work at our club anyway, because the manager must get his choice of players. He must get, as I said, I compare it to across the city. I don't like to do it. You can see the difference there. Dave gave Postecoglou 50 million. He's went and got 20 players, that every single one of the players, he knows what qualities they bring to his team. We don't have that.
If you actually go through all their signings, you'd be surprised how many of them have not made it neither, mate, and the money that they're. When you're winning football matches, all these things disappear into the ether, who's not playing, yes. But you're kind of, when you're not being successful, people dissect everything, yeah?
Ox, you're 100% right there. I accept that. But I tell you what another connection is. See, if you're not successful on the park, your stadium soon empties and your supporters soon don't start buying, into Edmondson House and buying merchandise and buying tickets and all that. This is, the gamble that the board of directors is taking now.
That's when the board
any change with Ross Wilson and Gio. A change must happen for us to give ourselves a chance of success this year. If it doesn't, have to keep putting our head in the sand. We're just going to watch them lift a treble this year, I'm afraid, the way it's going.
Well, gentlemen, we've reached that time of the evening. Listen, great to speak to you, Alex. Bob, yeah.
Thanks for having me again, Ox. I didn't want to see Rangers staring doing a financial abyss again. Thanks a lot, lads. Good night.
Thanks a lot, Ox. Yeah. Thanks, Jaffa. Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, Alex.
Thanks, Billy.
No bother, pal.
Great opinions. Thank you.
I don't know it's true. Yeah, I don't know how much the board of directors are into the club for. I know how much we would have to, how much we would owe them. I don't know. But I'd need to get through the balance sheet with a fine tooth comb. But we need to be careful what we wish for.
Yeah.
You know.
Appreciate the jobs you do, boys. Great show.
Right, Billy.
Aye, listen, Ox, thanks very much for asking me on again, mate. And thanks to...
Nobody else could make it, Billy, but thanks.
Brilliant, mate, brilliant. And thanks to my man in my dugout, our Jaffa boy there. Listen, Ox, my blood's red, white and blue like the rest of the Rangers fans. If you cut me open, that's the call you would get. I'd just like to say to Alex, the caller that came on there, listen, I'm sure it wasn't personal. The boys, that was just raw passion, and I appreciate his call. So, from one blue nose to another, there's no harm done, pal. So, no surrender, Alex. And no surrender the Rangers tomorrow night.
Good here. Jaffa.
Yes, Ox, thanks for having me on. Good show, good debate. Always good to talk about the famous Glasgow Rangers. Thanks for having me on. Great show as well, pal. Keep up the good work.
Listen, we'll be back tomorrow night with a pre-match show. We'll be joined by the one and only Port Bear as we build up to hopefully, please, another Rangers victory. Take it away, Fox and Old School Blue.
Soldiers fought and battles won for peace on earth until the fighting's done. They left their homes and said goodbye to fight a war their mothers left to grind. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. We remember. We bow our heads and close our eyes to honor those who freely gave their lives. Bring them home, keep them safe. Freedom's ours because they were so brave. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. Their stories change. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. We remember. Soldiers fought and battles won. Peace on earth, let the fight be done.
Erskine has been caring for our nation's veterans since 1916, and with your help, we always will. This Remembrance Day, search Erskine to make your donation. Erskine, futures for the brave.